started my first company from Facebook. I was already clocking thousands of dollars at a very young age.
Do you get worried sometimes that everything you've worked for may vanish in thin air? For that reason, you have to keep going?
No. That's the least. I don't think my story is unique to Africans. I was raised by an auntie with about 15 children. We all stay in one room. We hadn't built our house then. In a very small village where there was no lights growing up. There was no TV. My first classroom I can remember was a tree. And I knew the conditions I had to go through in the village. To me, it was never fair. I started an idea in the US and said I was gonna build a self-sustainable, affordable, and accessible school. You can do everything for people, but to give them knowledge, that's how we end the cycle of poverty.
Fredrick Benefringpong is a visionary farmer, serial entrepreneur, and the CEO and founder of Farming in Africa. His inspiring journey from a humble village in Ghana to becoming a transformative force in education and sustainable agriculture is marked by resilience and dedication. Fred's mission is to uplift communities through education and agriculture, creating a brighter future for all.
Becoming a farmer is not a fashion show. You don't need to be a farmer. You can play a lot of role in the value chain if you really understand it. And if you're looking to make money, that's where most of the money also lies.
I'm learning everything bit by bit. And again, I've learned another thing. It is who you are and who you've decided to be in this world. Hey, thank you once again. You're welcome to Connected Minds podcast. My name is Derek. And today I'm seated with Fred. I'll tell you a story of how we actually met. And this is why I love Connected Minds, right? So I saw his page on YouTube and then I did a screenshot, sent it to my assistant to draft a bio about whoever is behind this business. And he sent it to me, but the truth is I didn't read it when he sent it. Straight away I said, invite him because I'd love to sit and have a chat with him. Then I get a phone call from Maya saying that we need to go and meet his friend. His name is Fred. I didn't connect the dot, honestly. I really should have. So the day I met him, he sat down and he was speaking with Maya, and then Maya goes, hey, Derek, meet my friend Fred. Then I went, wait, hold on, Fred what? When he said the last name, then something clicked and I checked on the bio and realized that it's the same person that I'm trying to get on the podcast. Maya has just brought me to this guy. Look, this world is connected, whether you like it or not. So stay connected with me. I'm gonna ask him certain questions of his life and how he's learned so much about farming and how he's impacting the people he is. Because I believe this guy is a genius. Today, actually, I was watching one of your videos and I was like, this guy is amazing. And it was a video that goes all the way back to, I think, when you were in the US. And you were with some of your friends. There was a library behind you and you guys were talking.
Okay.
And I said, nah, this guy, you had hair, man. You had a lot of hair.
I can't remember, but those days.
But how you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I get shout out to Ademaya for connecting us, and I'm glad you also came. He called me early in the morning and said, I want to come and see you with a friend. I was like, why not? Come, So we decided to meet, and I'm glad you guys came.
Yeah. The bulk of the work that Fred does is in agriculture. Now, I've been to his place. I've seen his office. I've seen his house. One of his homes, probably. And I can promise you that if you ever thought that farming doesn't pay, you thought wrong. But anyway, what's your backstory?
I mean, backstory, grew up and born. I'll give you a quick summary. So, born and raised in Ghana in a small village called Senase in the Benneh region of Ghana. Moved to Accra after high school, hustle on the streets, started my first company at 18, a travel and tour company. Through that, got myself educated and got a scholarship. I studied in Turkey. So one thing most people don't know is I speak Turkish, but a very rough Turkish now. Then moved to London, studied in London, then moved to the US, completed my education in the US. then moved back to Ghana.
Fred, you're taking a lot of things out of the story.
I'm
the
giving you-
details of, how,
Yeah.
look, what was your upbringing like
Oh,
growing up?
yeah.
What was your home like?
I mean, that's like, I don't think my story is unique to Africans because, it's a daily life to us. It's normal, but I grew up in a very interesting, but also very disciplined and good home, depending on how you look at it. I was raised by an auntie, with about 15 children. We all stay in one room. We hadn't built our house then. So in a very small village where there was no lights growing up, there was no TV, very remote. My first classroom, I can remember, was a tree, under a tree. So I got to a point where I've gotten to the highest of the grade in our village. So I had to go to Brekum, which now it looks shorter, but when I was a kid, it was like at least 1.5 hours walk from my village to go to Brekum and continue education from grade 6. So that was the beginning. You go to school. After school, you go to the farm and help your mom out, carry firewood back. The next day, go to school in the morning. And I think at some point, early stage, we were doing morning and afternoon. So if your school was in the afternoon, you go to farm in the morning. If it's in the morning, you go to farm in the afternoon, So that's the kind of childhood I had. But I was very fortunate to have parents who really cared about education. Among all my siblings, I think I've been the only one who have been to university. And my mom, who raised me, shout out to her, has raised, the last time I counted, about 54 children.
Wow.
Yes, all from different mothers and different parents, different communities. And that's what she also does. And she does it with so much passion, with so much love. And I think that's her calling as well. So I think, yes, that's the kind of home. Yeah, I don't know what else.
I was reading your bio.
Yeah.
And one of your lovely assistants sent it to us.
Yeah.
And there were a few things in there about how you had the ambition to further your education, but then the means were not there.
Yeah.
And one way or the other, the universe created a way.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I think that was when I moved to Accra. So I moved to Accra. I had admission into Legon, but obviously I couldn't afford it. So, I ended up on the streets of Accra. So I did different things. I sold, everything you can think of, everything I can lay my hands on. And I think Oxford Street, was my spot. So, some of the guys out there who were try to sell you craft and everything, that was me.
You were one of them?
Yeah, man. That was me back then. Did a lot of that. Did different things, for then time Zane had come to Ghana new. I used to sell phones for Zane, and I was making a 1 cedis per each phone that I would sell. But I was also their best seller. I could sell 12 phones in a day, which was mind blowing. Through that, they took me to Cape Coast to a festival to go and sell phones there. I went, did justice to that. But whilst I was there, I had the opportunity to visit the Cape Coast Castle and meet a lot of foreigners. And I was like, that was when it clicked for me about tourism. And I was like, why are people coming to Ghana? And I will ask them, what are they coming to do? They said they're either traveling on a tour or to volunteer. And the question to me was, why wouldn't you do this in my village? But rather stay in the coast where I feel like it's more developed. Because in my village, my friends were dropping out of school because they didn't have pencil, book, school uniform, basic things. So right there, I was like, how can I combine tourism with impact? So how can I take people like the people I'm meeting every day on the street into my community and use it to develop the community? So right there, I started learning about tourism, and that's when I started my first travel company. And one day on the street, I met a group of white people who says, can you help us find a restaurant? I was like, let me put what I'm selling down and I can come. I put it down. I came back. There were about 12 people. And I took them to a restaurant. They asked me, what do I want to do in life? I told them my vision about going into tourism. They said, start with me. Start with us. Take us around. So I took them in a trotro to Labadi Beach, to Kwame Nkrumah Museum. That day I didn't sell anything, but I enjoyed the moment. Like you said, I connected minds. Like the kind of information or discussion I was having with them was something I've never had. It was deep. I could see it's at the next level. I really enjoyed it. I was like, this will be a good thing. I want to meet more people like this. So it really inspired me when it came to tourism. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to go get some certificate programs in tourism and do. So I went to Gimpa Hot Cut, did about 3 months ground handling, 3 months tour guiding, 3 months tour operation. And then I started my first company from Facebook. So yeah, in a year, I was already clocking thousands of dollars, from tens of thousands of dollars from Facebook, at a very young age, just targeting people who wants to come to Ghana and marketing the beauty of what I can do, which is authentic experience in rural villages whilst giving back to the communities. So in 2010, I sent the first group to my village. We built a water system for the village. We did so many different things. One day I was there, a woman reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, I've read a lot of, blog posts and stuff about you, and I want to come to Ghana. And when I come to Ghana, I want to do something like what you do, authentic. I was like, great. So she came with the family and friends, and we went, but we spent only 3 days in the village, so we couldn't even talk about it. The moment she got back, she called me and said, I've seen the amazing work you're doing, and my husband and myself, we want to sponsor you, get education anywhere of your choice.
Wow.
Yes. So that's how I was able to get back to school.
Pause a second. It is the individual that you are. Mm. It is the path that you set yourself on. Mm. People saw that. And everybody had no option than to come in to help you.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Such a beautiful story.
Thanks.
So you didn't end up going to the university?
No.
Here?
No.
You quit?
Yeah.
And then got on the street?
Yeah.
Started selling?
Yeah.
Became a tour guide?
Yeah.
Set up a tour company?
Yeah.
Then someone reached out to you to support you through education?
Yeah.
Connected minds. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. And you're a pretty hardworking guy. And I think a lot of people that see you, when I watch your videos, I could see passion.
Yeah.
Behind what you do.
Sure.
And, when a man decides to add desire and passion together, the world has no option than to clear the path for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's certainly something I see. I've read your bio several times because it's beautiful to read.
Thank you. Shout out to my wife.
She wrote it. She wrote it. Right. Yeah. No, she did a great job.
Yeah.
It's the accolades. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So, what happened then?
So yes, I ended up in London, and studied in London for 2 years. Then, they became like family to me. So I will, they'll spend Christmas in the US and spend New Year's with me in London, and then go back. So it was back and forth, and we decided, why don't I just move to the US? So I applied to a couple of universities, obviously got accepted into our picked University of San Diego, the private university, beautiful campus. Got there, started studying, took every opportunity that I can, conferences, invitations, entrepreneurship. But one of the organizations that I was key in was the Changemaker Society, which is basically how do we make impact in the world. And through that, I think when I was in London, after I traveled to London and started seeing the education, how different is it from, what I'm used to in my village, I started developing a strong passion for education. So I decided I was going to cut all the philanthropic work I was doing and focus only on education and just support people in rural communities. So I started the first charitable club on campus. And the goal was there was a time where through my travel company and my charity, we actually donated maybe about 300 school uniforms across government schools in Ghana, in the Ashanti region, in my village as well. And then I wanted to do more. So I said, okay, I've visited a lot of villages and their school structure and so on. So I wanted to build a school for my community. So I went ahead to build a 3 classroom by selling T-shirts on campus, food on campus, build a 3 classroom.
Nah, step on that. Selling T-shirts and what?
Croissants.
Okay,
no, everything.
Talk about that
So
a bit more, because
so you're a student.
those are the baby steps that you need.
Yeah. So, I was buying school uniform, which was cheap. I think with 80 cedis by then, I could sew a school uniform for a kid. So I could do things, but I wanted to do more. I didn't want to just give them school uniforms. I wanted to build a school for them. So I got a few people join my club from all over the world, and then we started fundraising on campus, printing T-shirts called Hot Rice. That organization is still running in my university now, but I founded that, and we will create T-shirts early morning, cold, we'll go out, sell breakfast and tea, like anything for students to buy, professors to buy, and that money will go into the charity. So together with a few friends from the US as well, who also had a foundation, we're both basically working to build this school. So finally, we were able to build the 3 classrooms for the village. But fast forward, I went into the school and realized that it wasn't sustainable. The upkeeping of the school, wasn't going the right direction. The maintenance, like people weren't taking care of it. I had an issue where it was an exams week. The headmaster hadn't come to school, and therefore the kids weren't writing exams. Meanwhile, these kids were traveling from different villages, some walking 2 hours, 3 hours to come to school, and I was like, that's not right. For me to create something sustainable, I need to build something that I can have full control of, So that is when I started an idea in the US and said I was going to build a self-sustainable, affordable, and accessible school. The goal was to build it across all rural villages in Ghana, starting with my village. So I went there and I started with 3 classrooms with 120 students, built a beautiful campus. Kids enjoyed it. And fast forward, we are 9 years now. We have about 700 students in that school. We wrote our first BEC this year, just a couple of weeks ago, right? So that was when I was in school in San Diego. So I was doing that alongside, and then you
know how school was sold to me. When you said you had to, people have to travel, they have to walk miles and miles to get to school.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that too.
Mm.
And the motivation to do that was because I was told that the only way that I could become wealthy is if I go to school.
Wow.
That was how it was sold to us. For your future.
Yeah.
So go to school.
Yeah.
So sometimes, it's just rained and then the roads are muddy, but we still have to go through that. To get to school.
Yeah.
Just because of the future.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job in that village, man.
You're welcome, man. Welcome. I think, you can do everything for people, but to give them knowledge, that's how we end the cycle of poverty.
Yeah.
It's by empowering the people with knowledge.
Brother, because of education, the two of us are sitting here and that's our common ground.
Exactly.
And if I or you did not go to school to the level where you have, it would have been very, very impossible for us to sit and have intellectual conversations like this.
Yes, that's true. So it's the elevation, it elevates people from level to level.
Yeah.
So if we really want to end that cycle of poverty that going around, we need to be able to level a certain generation up that cycle, And to me, that's why I chose education, because I think if I can give anything back to the community that raised me, it has to be the mind, So, yeah.
There was a day I did a podcast episode. And my mom was downstairs. So I went to her and I said, do you know that because of education, I'm having rich men's kids come to my house to do a podcast? That would have never happened.
Yeah.
You know, so let's keep educating them.
Yes.
Which is why farming in Africa is educating farmers. Beautiful. Now, what's your plan for the school?
I think, so the goal initially was to build more schools. And then I decided, no, education, I'm so passionate about this that I can't just build it and say I have 5 schools. I have 10 schools, you know. Let me go through the entire system to the end so that I can better understand it, groom well quality teachers, understand the process before I replicate it. Once you've gotten the formula, it's just a replication. If you know addition, whether it's 2 plus 2 or 1 plus 1 is the same formula. So I wanted to get that. And thanks be to God, this year is the year where we've actually moved from nursery 1 all the way to grade 9, which is JSS 3 here. So now I need to take a step back. Say, have we figured everything from nursery 1 to grade 9? And if we have, do we have the capacity to replicate that into another community and go change another 700 students in that community? So that's the next step. But the goal is really to be able to tie that lower level into agriculture. So building a higher grade, but focusing on agriculture as well.
You know, you come across us. We spent almost a day together. Almost.
Yeah.
Collectively, maybe we spent about 24 hours together.
Yeah.
And I've seen Fred in the light where I want to ask him a question because I want to understand what he really thinks about on a daily basis.
Yeah.
What drives you?
What drives me?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. I just think there are people that are just born with a drive, because I think the impact to me is like, what is next and who benefits from the next.
Okay.
Right? Like I drove almost 14 hours yesterday from the north to Accra, right? And then I woke up today, I was like, what is next? What else can we do? Yeah, your body might feel, but like, what else can this body do today? And how does it benefit the next?
But what is behind you? What is chasing you to do that? I mean,
what is chasing me is a very good question.
Yeah.
I've been getting that very a lot. Bro, I've asked myself too, because it's not the money. There is so many times that I just do things without even knowing. Like, one of my team members asked me, how much is this person paying for this? And I said, I don't know. And he's like, and you're going to do it? It's like, it's agriculture. Like, I'm going to do it. So it's not, I know very well it's not the money. But that's a question I also ask myself, Ben, is
I really want the answer for this question. Because, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's inbuilt. Maybe you were born with it. Maybe. I don't know. But there must be something out there that makes you want to wake up every morning to be entrepreneurial, to be a change maker, to want to see people do well. There must be something.
Definitely, but I think if I look deep, I think it's from my background, where I grew up. You know why I say that? Because I was born in Accra. I knew growing up, my mom and dad were in Accra.
Yeah.
Right? And I knew the conditions I had to go through in the village. So to me, it was never fair. And my mom once told me something a day where I cried from the farm. It was me carrying a heavy firewood, and I couldn't. I cried. I cried. I don't think I've ever told this story, but I cried. And my mom said something. He says, I'm making you strong so that one day when you join your brothers or your family in Accra, you'll be stronger. And I didn't. I it pissed me off actually.
Yeah,
I was like,
I can imagine.
But I think I wanted myself out of that. I wanted myself out of that poverty, that hardship. So I work for it, but I don't think it's what gets me up today.
Fred,
Yes.
do you get worried sometimes that everything you've worked for may vanish in thin air? For that reason, you have to keep going?
No. That's the least. I've had partnerships where it didn't work out, where I had to let go. I've had issue with people. I'm always ready to start again because I think I'm much smarter. I'm much capable. If I'm supposed to start everything life again, I think I will be much more successful, quicker. So that fear of things going down, no. If I'm supposed to start a YouTube channel again, I think I will move faster. If I'm supposed to start any business again, I think the people I know, the experience I've had. So no, I don't at all. Maybe the answer will come.
Maybe the answer will come. When you said about the firewood,
yes,
and it just took me back to the time where I was in a boarding school. I was 8 years.
Okay.
And I'm a pretty short guy, right? So I was very small.
Yeah.
And I had this aluminum bucket.
Yes.
That thing was about half my size, man. And the water in our barrel was not flowing, and we had to travel 30 minutes to get to a stream and get some water, some muddy water.
Yeah.
I got the water. I was only able to get a quarter of the bucket, right?
Because it's too heavy.
I carried it. Now, that 30 minutes, when I came, I lost half of what I had.
Oh, yeah. It's bouncing
left, right, center. And I still had to leave it there for 30 minutes for it to settle. Then I can bath with a cup or two. Terrible. These things keep me thinking that I never want to see those things around me anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want my kids to go through that anymore. I don't want to die and come back again in that situation anymore. For that reason, whatever it is I can do today, for myself, for my family, and for the community, I must make sure I get that done.
Exactly.
We are up to a task. We have a mission.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for your mission. Uber Ghana launch. After all, things that you've done, where did the launching of Uber Ghana come in?
So the launch of Uber Ghana started from when I was in London. When I had the education vision or mindset, I also had an idea for transportation. So I decided to bring taxis together. So I started a company called Blah Blah Taxi. And the goal was to bring enough taxis into Ghana from Europe. And if I'm able to bring enough, and I started this work and pay thing. So the drivers will work for some time, they will own the cars. But then after they've owned the cars, I don't get any revenue. But the next thing is to connect them together because now they have a good quality car, right? That is neat, that people need. So then I can bring them together and connect them to the market. And this was my idea. So I pitched it to a professor who was American. By then, I don't know if Uber was even in London. And then he asked me, have you heard of the company called Uber? And I said, no. And it's like, you should look them up. They are doing something like that. So I was like, okay. So I think I did, but fast forward, I was just bringing my car. So I brought maybe almost 20 cars to Ghana whilst I was studying in London. And they were all being taxi, doing work and pay and so on. And then I had a trip through my travel company, students that I had talked to about this business as well. And he had come back to Ghana to do an internship with the US Embassy in Ghana. So I was there. He reached out and said, hey, I was at the office today and I heard Uber is coming to Ghana. So I've just recommended you to them because I think it's very similar to what you're trying to do. I was like, really? It's like, yeah. So there I got an email saying you've been recommended. Send us this and this and this. So I sent everything that I've got. And then there was an interview schedule. It was a full day interview from morning to evening. I think I spoke to about 8 or 10 people from different countries. It was like brain draining. They went through that day. Then in 3 weeks' time, they got back to me, gave me another set of interview, then gave me a test that I had to take online, passed all that. Then they reached out to me and say, are you ready to go to Ghana? I said, I'm still a student. I have 1 semester to finish. They said, no, we need you in Ghana next week. By then, I was living in San Francisco. I said, I have my apartment paid for 1 year. You know, I'm living downtown San Francisco. It was costing they're like, no, we will pay for your apartment. You need to get on a plane, go to Ghana. We will bring people to your house, pack your things. We'll pay for everything. We'll ship your couch, your bed, everything to Ghana so that you can go and do this. So I talked to my professor and he's like, are you asking me? Get out and go, you know? So my professor, my dean was like, take the opportunity and go. So I quit school, flew to Ghana on the, I think it was 13th of May. Flew to Ghana and then, you know, they packed everything, shipped my couch, everything back to me. In the contract, they said in 1 year time, they will bring me back and let me finish my degree and then come back. I said, okay. So I came to Ghana. When I came to Ghana, there was a gentleman from Canada who was like, what she does is she supports growing markets to grow and launch. So he was my immediate person to work with. We have a few part-time workers. So I was there, thrown into it. They said, build it. This is for you now. So started recruitment, part-timers, both rider side, doing events, everything. And then lucky for us, on the 9th of June, we were able to turn the app on. The day we turned it on, actually, it poured rain, heavy rain. Our whole office was flooded. The gutter in front of office was flooded to my belly button. And the drivers were stuck at the end of it. Every driver from Uber who was there from day one would testify to this. I had to take my pants off, take my shirt off in my boxer, carry my bag, walk through that dam of water, cross it to the other side, organize all the drivers at Asanka Locals restaurant. That's why I turned all of them on. And then, it's Uber. The moment we turned it on, rides started coming in. Drivers were leaving Asanka Locals to go pick. They were like, is this real? Is this a natural person asking for it? Day by day, man, grew Uber to what it is today.
I'm learning everything
Yeah.
bit by bit. And again, I've learned another thing. It is who you are and who you've decided to be in this world. And everything you're saying is people connect with you.
Yeah.
You know, they can see your vision, they can see who you are, and they just throw opportunities at you. But the beautiful thing is that you're always ready. Right? So if you're listening today and you find this story inspiring, we cannot be afraid, you know. We can choose to be if we want to be.
A better version.
A better version, you know. So let's not get too stuck in our ways and our one way of thinking. And if you haven't subscribed, please do become part of the family and stay connected. Now, there's a big story.
Yeah.
Huge story that I read about. And I said, wow, you've been through quite a lot.
Yeah.
You invested over 5 million Ghana cedis in farming.
Yeah.
And you got told by the traditional council that you should let that farm go. You had over 300 goats in that farm.
Yeah.
And all of that had to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the aftermath, which is now. I want to talk about when you got that news after you had invested so much into your farming.
Yeah.
What was happening in your mind?
I think I was hurt. I was hurt from I think I was hurt for the fact that my vision were being like, I'm trying to choose my word wisely because the vision still exists and it's getting better and better. But the vision for the community, right? Because it was costing me, I have to fly to that community to see the farm and to see my school. So the goal was to put a lot together. I have a land in that community where I'm going to build the next technical school, right? So I wanted to build everything of mine in that community. My mom is Ga. My dad is from that community. That community raised me. So to me, the goal was to build my life after a certain time there and everything there, and give back to that community. So I think it was more of the opportunity that I was like, we're gonna miss this opportunity. That's how I felt. But I have to come to terms with it. But it wasn't easy. It was tough. Feeling that kind of in a short-term betrayal and we couldn't really come to an understanding of what we could have achieved together. Every problem there is a solution to it. But I felt like we couldn't. So yeah, that was hurtful.
5 million Ghana cedis is a lot of
But that's
investment.
what you could even account for. I mean, before I started this journey, I've traveled around the world for research and so on. And the reason why that money even came out was a journalist asked me, and I was like, I don't even know. Let me call my accountant. So I called my accountant and said, hey, how much have we spent on this project, everything? And she just put the numbers together, looked through the books and said, oh, a little over 500,000. And then so the journalist was there, and then I showed him the message and say, oh, my accountant this one. But it doesn't include, when we were even clearing the land, the beginning when I didn't even have an accountant, all the travel which was personally funded, the number of people I've brought outside to come and even So I mean, we can put money on certain things, when the passion is there.
Did you feel like giving up at that point?
Oh no. It was a piece of the puzzle that has just been removed. And that's when if you're able to see the bigger picture, then you know the part each is going to play. So the goal was to set up 3 farms, one in the south, one in the north, and one in the middle belt. I started from my hometown, so that's the middle belt, in the Benneh region, to use it as the experimental farm, figure things out. Once it's working, let's get it to the other regions so that people can have access to this kind of farming and learn from it. So when that model, and I had already bought the lands in all those sectors. So like I said, it was 3 pieces of a puzzle and one was just shut down. So quickly, I fall back to the other piece and then quickly built it.
You were given 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To move the entire,
goats
you had.
Yeah.
And you decided to speak to the team to see whether they'll be willing to, come to a better agreement that will favor you.
Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't agree?
I think it's spiritual, and when you have, and it wasn't just me, it was the whole community.
Right.
It was like Brekum community. So it wasn't targeted at me. It wasn't because of the land. It was a tradition that have been let go for years. The owners of the land are now saying that due to 1 or 2 things, we want to go back to our tradition. Peace out.
And the tradition being you can no longer rear
Have
goats in this community.
Exactly.
Great. Did you know that before?
I knew that as a kid. When we were growing up, I mean, we knew that goats were not allowed in goat, dogs, even firewood. You can't bring a long firewood. You have to cut it into pieces. Palm nuts, you have to cut it into pieces before. So these are all how do you call it?
Superstition
or beliefs that we had as a kid. But also growing up, we've always had dog. I had a dog as a kid. We've always had goats there. So even though I knew, it's like you go to a community and say, oh, in the olden days, for example, even in Brekum, there is a place where it's called Chiribra. And it means that if a lady is in their menses, they can go to that area. But now that place is a community.
Right.
With women and men. So it's just one of those.
As a businessman, you do a certain level of risk assessment.
Yeah.
Did you assess the risk of investing this much money?
Yeah.
Here, knowing that previously they've had certain beliefs about what exactly we're wearing?
I think so. My farm also comprises of different things, right? So it was a journey of an entrepreneur. We figure things out, we go according to the waves. So I started with cattle farming. That was my first thing. Then moved into poultry. Then realized that with cattle, the way I want to do it, with the size of land, I cannot scale. And therefore, let's go to goats, right? And that's when the goat thing started. So even when the goat thing started, I had even purchased a land outside Brekum, about 130 acres, where I was preparing, as a backup to move them there and all that. So to be honest with you, I never thought it would ever happen because it was something that had been forgotten
Historic.
for years. Yes,
so
exactly.
Maybe they wouldn't even bring it back.
I mean, I never thought of it. And that is a lesson we learn every day. Sometimes some lessons cost you more than others, but a lesson is a lesson. You can never be successful without making mistakes.
Look, I think when we were speaking out there, I was telling you I was listening to Aliko Dangote's conversation today.
Yes.
This is a multi-millionaire. Like, this guy's a billionaire. Right?
Yeah.
And, he's put together about $5 billion USD to set up a refinery.
Yeah.
But look at the troubles they're giving him. So it happens. It's a businessman's risk. And sometimes you can't foresee that risk happening. But it is the attitude to carry on and landmark
bounce back.
in Nigeria.
Yeah.
He had a land, he put together a beautiful infrastructure.
Yeah.
All gone.
Yeah.
Right. So business is, I say that entrepreneurship is very rewarding. If you're crazy enough to say that's what you want to do, you must be prepared for everything that comes your way.
You're right.
Yeah. So you've done great. And then I hope now you sold a lot of the goats.
Yeah.
But now you are working even bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. When I watch your videos, right, I see a lot of, livestock. What do you like about goats so much?
It's not specifically goats. I think I'm just an animal lover. Growing up as a kid, I always had rabbits.
Okay.
And I had dog, I had cat, and so I always loved animal, but we couldn't harness that passion. So we were all sent off to the, white collar job journey where we chased for it. But when you get to a certain peak in life, you tend to look deeper in your core, and I think that's what happened to me, and decided I was going to do farming. And if I was going to do farming, then I'd rather do something I enjoyed.
Right.
And I think animals came first. So the goats came in terms of the business side, what makes sense.
Okay.
Goat is very easy to rear. With a small land, you can still scale a lot. It's also the meat that bridges rural and urban as well. So if you go to the most remote village restaurant, you'll get goat meat. Accra, you'll get wherever. So it's from the business angle, it's something that I felt like I could make way with. And it was also very untapped. So our goats, there's so much to do. And as an entrepreneur, the joy is the problem solving, right? So I'm like, if I go into pigs, the breeds already exist. People know. Cattle, they're already big. But goats, nobody cares. They call it the poor man's cow.
I see. Okay.
Right. So again, I'm like, let's go make some difference there. And I'm so happy to see the amount of people and, like you said, the connection I'm having with people that I'd never even thought they are thinking about goat farming, but now they see the opportunity.
Yeah. You speak to a lot of farmers. You consult for a lot of farmers. There are some of these people you consult for that I'm aware of.
Yes.
These are big people.
Yeah.
So look, and you are in your 30s.
Yeah.
Now, and the reason why that is important is because we need a lot more young people to go into farming.
Mm-hmm.
We think as part of Africa's industrialization, this should be part of the plan.
Yeah.
What would you tell
Yeah.
a young person that wants to go into farming? What should they start with? What can they realize?
Yeah.
Can that replace their regular income?
Yeah.
You know, is it beautiful to be a farmer?
Yeah.
What is it?
I think it is. It is beautiful. There's some sense of joy that you get from farming that very few industries will give you that. You know, you can be in real estate and build a house, but the house is a house. It's stagnant. You cash your cash out, you're done. I go to the farm and sometimes my team have to drag me and say, hey, it's getting late. Like just seeing the animals grazing, interacting, different things, different issues coming up, solving, like seeing their growth, seeing their lineage, perfecting their genetics. Like it's just the science behind it, from nutrition, from genetic, from health to management to infrastructure. These are all things that I deal with on a daily basis and really keeps me on my feet. But if you're a young person and you want to go into agriculture, a lot of the saying is that agriculture doesn't work. It does work, but everything that works has a way, it has a formula. You got to know that formula. So if you want to go into farming, whatever you're doing now, if you're a teacher, if you're a policeman, if whatever business you're doing, you got to start learning about the type of agriculture that you want to go into. Get the knowledge. And I always say this, you know, I think it's a Chinese saying. It says, whenever the student is ready,
the master will appear.
Exactly. So you got to be the student first. You got to be able to learn, like YouTube, things like this. You know, there are so many people that we've inspired that are now talking about agriculture on YouTube, TikTok, and that is amazing. When I started, there was nothing. It was only the TV stations, right? But now a lot more young people are educating. They are traveling to show you what other young people are doing, what is possible. So go to them, find out the formula. Don't be shy. We started the Farming in Africa YouTube channel because people weren't willing to share the information with us. And that's a mentality we have to leave behind. And then we said, we're going to share everything and break that chain. So now it is there. And a lot more disciples are following, also sharing. So now you have the knowledge you need on your phone, in your tablet. Learn. Once you figure it out, start small, test it out to see, does it work? Is this going to work? Because there's so much as a farmer you have to learn. I tell people again, the formula is there, but it changes every year, every season, every weather change. You know, what works in this rainy season might not work in the next year rainy season. So be willing to adapt, and that you build by experience. Right. So the farming is going to work. People have done it. I went to a farm in Mexico with about 70,000 cattle. And it's running. That means it is possible. But how do we get there? It's not today, but one step at a time. So if it's your passion and you really want to do it, learn the formula, test it out. And once you have it, scale it out.
Scale it out, indeed. Yeah. I love that little talk. And, you know, I hope that we get a lot more people, you know, finding interest in farming. And you know what the truth is? Sometimes when you think about a farmer, because what we've been used to is that my grandma was a farmer. My stepdad was a farmer. And they were not living good. They were not living great. But hey, man, I've been to this guy's house, man. I know the cars he drives, man. I look, let me not say too much. If you do it properly, you will get a reward. Do it properly. But if you're just doing some small thing that you can eat, that's a different scenario altogether.
Yeah. Can I add something to this? Go on. Not every farmer also needs to till the soil. Right. There is a lot in the value chain that we need to tap. I think when people set on farming, they're like, I want to go on and work the soil. You don't. There are already millions of people doing what you want to do. So what is one thing that you have that you can come and add to what a million people are doing to add value, to take us to the next level? I speak to a lot of young people, accountants, auditors, doctors, engineers, and they want to go into farming. I was like, why did you study engineering? Oh, I'm passionate about it, but was like, so build something for the millions of farmers in Africa that are doing farming. And then have your small thing for your passion. Because this is what you spend 30, 40 years, 25 years of your life doing, right? Give that to the farmers. And if you want to have poultry or whatever at your backyard, nothing prevents you from doing that. But you can spend your 30, 40 years being an engineer. And then if you have 10 years left, you don't have time for experiment. I have time for experiment. I'm still quite young. So I can still experiment and perfect something. But the value chain exists. So mostly this doesn't sit well with people, but becoming a farmer is not a fashion show. You don't need to be a farmer. You can play a lot of role in the value chain if you really understand it. And if you're looking to make money, that's where most of the money also lies.
Adding value to the already existing farmers.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's a beautiful one. Fred.
Yes.
What does success mean to you?
In various aspects, success has meant different things to me in every endeavor. I remember I was asked this question at an interview when I built a school. And to me, the success journey was when a parent walked up to me and said, Fred, hey, my child didn't sleep tonight. 4 a.m., she woke me up. Mama, I'm ready to go to school. And right there, like I went into my mood. I was like, thank you, God. Because to me, and probably you as well, education wasn't fun. It wasn't a place we want to go. When you're going to school, you're wearing like 6 shorts under your school uniform.
I know what you're about to say.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because they'll beat you for school fees. They'll beat you. Yeah. So it wasn't a place we wanted to go.
And the school fees is not my fault. Why am I getting beaten
Exactly.
for?
So to me, the success of that school was kids wanting to be at a place. And if kids want to be there and they enjoy it, they will learn. You can't force kids to learn.
It's true.
And that's why kids learn through toys. When they want to be if you create an environment that they love to be in, they will learn. So to me, that was success, right? So every endeavor, success is different. To me, when it comes to farming, I'm looking at the impact, the number, and especially being on the social media platform, you're looking at how many people are we reaching, how many goats. Now we're about to do something in the northern region where I'm going on the ground and working with local farmers, putting them into organizations and tracking their progress by giving them the support they need. So if I come to a household that have 5 goats, I want to write that down and say in the next 1 year, how many goats can I get you to? What is your mortality rate? Right. And to me, that I can feel like we are contributing through the education we are putting online, through the in-person support and the knowledge and expertise that we bring in.
This is beautiful. Yeah, no. It's beautiful. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice. I think it was from my parents that actually, sponsored me through education. When I started my school, the first day, the school bus driver quit. So it was 6 a.m. I called him and I say, hey, where are you? The bus is ready. And he says, boss, I'm on my way to Accra. My brother said I should come. He's gotten a job for me. It's like, what? So I quickly had to go shower, dress up. I was the school bus driver for 1 week. Then we bring the teachers in, first day of school, chaos. This is not working. By then I was still a university student. School had opened. My American parents were leaving back to the US. And they said, Fred, we have to go. I said, I'm sorry. I'm not leaving Ghana till this school is working. Hey, you sure? I said, yes. I took them to the airport. They changed my flight. I said, keep it open. I came back to the village. And then he got to the US. I think 3 weeks hadn't come. School had already started. And then he called me and said, Fred, I understand how you want your things to be and how you like to run your things. No one is ever going to run it the way Fred runs it. But it doesn't mean Fred's way is always the way to get there. And I think I was like, yeah, our headmaster, then I'll say maybe wasn't. The teachers are figuring things out. It's not the perfect that I wanted and so on. But they are from this community, they will figure it out. It might not be my way, but they know this case, they know the parents. Relax, go finish your education. So I think since then, I've never forgotten that. So I still get myself locked up where I'm like, this should be this. But then I remember that and I'm like, Bless might have his own way of doing it too. So let me pull back, chill a little bit and see how Bless turns out. Yeah, so.
I'm going to take that advice. I'm going to take that advice.
Yeah.
I'm certainly going to take that. Have you got anything for my audience?
I mean, we've said enough. Thank you for inviting me. And if you've been watching till this end, then thank you for listening to me, Rat. I think you said a lot about, it's me and the opportunities and being ready. I think, life is not fair. And some might have a lucky where it will be handed to them. Some of us, we have to work it. I learned how to use a computer in 2009, 2010. Fast forward, in 4 years, I was launching the biggest tech company in the world, right? One of the biggest tech company. It is possible. You just need to put your mind to it. Find that one thing that in your downwards point, you can still get up from bed and do, and just give it all. Just give it everything that you have. And trust me, give yourself 5 years, 4 years. You'll be the best at it. Just practice. Work for free. Let people take advantage of you. Go and find the right people that are doing it. There was a time in an interview I said this. I say, when somebody sees their favorite musician on the street, they have every courage to jump and yell and shout at that person and get the person's attention and kiss the person and whatever they want to do. But you want to be, a podcast host and you see Derek, but the first reaction is you're shy. You even start to judge Derek. Hey, look at the kind of dressing look at the kind of car he's driving. So when it comes to the people, so when I'm saying find the thing that you're looking for, find the people that are in that thing and cherish them. Learn from them. Humble yourself. Work with them, right? Because they have done it. There's so much you can learn. And I always tell farmers, every farm you go, whether it's small, big, you will learn something and apply it to your farm. And that's how life is. So I have learn, be a mentor, a mentee to people, and just to learn. I met a very rich man, a billionaire in San Francisco. He said, Fred, I want to invest in your business. And I said, my businesses are not ready. He said, so what can I do for you? He said, I just want you to mentor me. And that man, that was 2017. He's mentored me from then till now. Right? And he's a billionaire. And anytime I pick the phone, he'll call. But I wanted to learn his mindset. I wanted to learn what he does, right? And that is the formal one. There are informal ones. We go on YouTube watching, learning about what the people are doing. I come here, I've learned 1 or 2 things I'm going to take to my studio. So guys, don't waste your time on Netflix. Don't waste your time playing games and doing things that it's not going to add value to your life. Use that time to learn, find the right people, build a network that inspires you, and I'm sure the sky, will not only be your limit, but you'll crawl through it.
Yes. When I went to Fred's office, I saw a big screen and he was watching a podcast. He was learning. Yeah. Exactly what he's saying, he lives it. Yeah. Now, leaders are readers. So if you can't do the formal way, find other ways, like he said, to better yourself. We are trying to catch fire. And it's starting from some of the things we are doing, the people we are connecting with. Have yourself a 10-year plan, a 5-year plan, and, soak proper, knowledge and see how your life is going to be. Yeah. If you made it to the end, you're great. and you're going to do better in life. Like I say, if you can't spare an hour to listen to conversations that will impact and change your life, I don't think you're ready. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this content. My name is Derek Abaite, and I'm out.